Greetings, this is John Gustafson over here at MCUSA 77 on your YouTube. I am an artisan and a little bit of a musician. I'm a father and I'm a husband. And I'm pushing 50 years old. I've spent the majority of my life seeking purity and perfection on earth. Needless to say, it's been hard to find. During the course of my life, I've pursued an organic, toxic-free lifestyle, and our lifestyle has incorporated this theme. We make high-tech free and carcinogen-free cutlery, jewelry, tobacco, pipes. We grow our own Native American, organic, GMO free tobacco, and we also make our own buckskin clothing. We sew clothing, and we like to use, organic fibers. And so our lifestyle has incorporated our convictions. We try to live what we teach, and we try to do the best we can. In the course of my lifetime, in searching for people who are in the pursuit of promoting purity and peace on earth, as a young man I got quite disgruntled. I remember running into more than a few Christians, many of whom are and who were some very nice, kind, caring, giving people. Found myself very disgruntled because, well, let me put it this way. Have you ever had a relationship where you could listen to the same music with a certain person and you could get along, but as soon as you maybe left the theater or the opera house or the bar room, your cultures clashed? I mean, you go home and your home is a house that is immaculate and clean, and your partner or your friend's house is a house that is in disarray, not organized. Your car is polished and fine-tuned, and their car is rattling down the road and it's missing on at least a few cylinders. Well, and this is how it is with spirituality. You can come together with people of various faiths, and you can find unity, you can find common ground on a level. And that level might be maybe prayer. That level might be you have a common text that you read from. But when you leave that common ground, what do you have in common? I'll give you an example. I once knew a man, and I would spend some time off and on with this man, visiting his family, and we would enjoy each other's spiritual searching, spiritual digging. We would enjoy talking about spirituality. But for me, it was a really empty experience ultimately, because as soon as I left from this time of conversing, this time of, some would say, communing with this man, he would go back into his toxic, high-tech producing lifestyle, and I would go back to my green, organic, gardening lifestyle. I remember as a young man, I used to shoe horses. I remember as a young man, I would be out in some areas of the United States, different parts. No, I'll just tell you, it was in upstate New York. That's where he was. Yeah, upstate New York. I was in upstate New York, and I used to shoe. If you shoe a horse, it's called shod. I used to shod or shoe various types of horses, and draft horses, gaited horses, thoroughbred race horses, every kind of horse you can think of. And I remember going to my friend's business. He was a banker. And I would show up. I've been shoeing horses. I smell like horse poop. I mean, I stink. This guy's a banker. We'd get together, clean up, go play racquetball. But, you know, we had a total clash of cultures, all right? You know, some things just don't go together. And what we have behind me today are some trees. Now, these trees, I don't know if you can see them too good, but they're all dying. And the reason why they're dying is because the ranchers in this part of the world, they don't like to have too many trees. And, you know, that's fine. But instead of going out and cutting down the trees, they spray chemicals into the tree, into the faces of the birds, and the bees, and everything else, you know, that gives life. And the trees are now dying. Unfortunately, this chemical that's being sprayed is the same chemical, or this chemical contains the same components that were in Agent Orange. Yeah, that's right. Now, to me, this is insanity, especially since we've just passed the threshold where we experience BP here in the United States, where we still have Fukushima going around the globe. And, you know, when I was a child growing up, I remember in different parts of the United States, and yes, this was in New York too, I remember seeing mutations once in a while of dandelions. Well, I've seen a mutated dandelion here, where you have two stems coming off one dandelion. And I know some people are saying, oh, Fukushima's causing mutations. Well, these mutations have been around because ever since the advent of the chemical age, the American populace has been seduced into thinking that toxic fertilizers, toxic Miracle-Gro, toxic hairspray, toxic perfume, toxic food is healthy. It's not. It causes mutations. It causes problems. And so here where I live today, I'm looking for people who are into producing paradise on earth. And I'm still having a hard time finding people who are into producing paradise on earth. Unfortunately, a lot of these people through the years have been forced to give up paradise and work for the people who destroy paradise. And I understand, and I'm sorry. Unfortunately, some people haven't had the backbone to stick it out. And I'm sorry. And unfortunately, we have people who like to persecute people who want to promote paradise on earth. And where I live today, not only do we have mutated dandelions, which you could say come from Fukushima, we also have, well, my children call them the redfin pond. There's a pond, they call it the redfin pond. Why? Because the fish all have red fins. And then another pond, they call it the yellowfin pond. Why? Because all the fish have yellow fins. And the heart of what I'm trying to express is the old child song. It's really the best little jingle I can give you. One of these things don't belong. You remember the song. One of these things don't belong. And so, if you're a Christian and you really are not just a pagan who uses Christianity as a front for your paganry, and if you're a pagan Christian who doesn't care about the earth, well, I understand your belief. But I plead with you, Mr. Pagan Christian, or pagan Muslim, or plead with you, whatever religion, whatever faith, could we at least come together on common ground on this one thing? How about we come together on the common ground that, hey, we have got a global Chernobyl going on for 4 years. It's not good. Fukushima. We've got BPs. We got oil spills. The last thing we need to do, how about we just stop the toxic fertilizer and toxic sprays? How about we start using animals and farming in such ways, and using livestock that are meant to be used in the area in which you dwell. Let's work with the land and not against the land. Let's work together for a better, beautiful, healthier, happier future for our offspring. I think as humans we can all agree. And last but not least, I just want to say, I understand it's a hard thing for a man to be humble and say, hey, I was wrong. But if you can humble yourself and say, hey, I was wrong, I screwed up, I was taught lies and I followed deception, deceiving teachings, that toxic chemicals are good, for the land and for our drinking water, and they really don't hurt you, or me. If you can admit that you've made some mistakes, if you can admit that you had some bad practices, well, this is the start. And then from there we can go on and work together to preserve what's left of paradise on earth. Now for you folks who say, well, the earth's going to go to hell anyhow. Well, it might. But are you the one who's supposed to be sending it there? That's the question. Thank you for listening to my rant. May peace and paradise come to earth speedily and in our days. Ta-ta.
I know this world's going to hell, and my reason won't let me be now. He says he's looking out for me. I think I'd rather jump into your arms, holding you in my heart, trusting you and me, my need. I think I'll surrender.
Greetings, this is John Gustafson over here at MCUSA 77 on your YouTube. I am an artisan and a little bit of a musician. I'm a father and I'm a husband. And I'm pushing, and our lifestyle has incorporated this theme. We make high-tech free and carcinogen-free cutlery, jewelry, tobacco, pipes. We grow our own Native American, organic, GMO, free tobacco. And we also make our own, about 50 years old. I've spent the majority of my life seeking purity and perfection on earth. Needless to say, it's been hard to find. During the course of my life, I've pursued an organic, toxic-free lifestyle of my lifetime in searching for people who are in the pursuit of promoting purity and peace on earth. As a young man, I got quite disgruntled. I remember running into more than a few Christians, many of whom are and who wear some very nice skin clothing. We sew clothing, and we like to use, organic fibers. And so our lifestyle has incorporated our convictions. We try to live what we teach, and we try to do the best we can. In the course